Good morning, good morning, good morning. I just came in, popped in to do a quick recap of Divorced Sistas uh, in season 1, episode 3, Hushed Tones. Of course, it starts back with Geneva with Javon asking Geneva if Anika is his daughter, and she tells him no, and she asks him why would he ask that, and he says that the timeline is questionable because they were messing around at the time that she conceived. He also states that she's supposed to be his wife, and they had talked about leaving their respective spouses so that they could be with each other. They also talked about having a daughter and naming her Anika. And he's stating that he has fulfilled his part because he's divorced his wife and now he's back to get with her. And he now wants her, of course, to leave her husband for him. She said it's been 6 years, a lot has changed, a lot has transpired. So she's really not that interested. Well, she's interested, but I don't think she really wanted to leave her husband at this particular time. William comes back downstairs and he literally talks to William like nothing just happened. Like he was not just over here plotting on taking his wife from him. And this man is supposed to be your friend. Y'all already did the man dirty by sleeping with each other. And now you in his face pretended like you're his friend and you plotting up on his wife. What ain't too did it? In Tyler Perry world, of course. Um Next, we see where Jeff and Rashida, um, they're getting ready to go to the event. They're riding in the car. Of course, he asks um, her what's going on with her because he's saying that she has changed a lot. She tells him that he's not showing interest in her. And of course, she asks him, does he love her? And he's like, of course, he loves her. What's wrong with her? She tells him that he's not showing that he loves her. They haven't been having sex. And me personally, based off of what I'm looking at, I could be wrong. I could be very well be wrong and reading too much into stuff. But I feel like him and admiring that right hand man, I'm thinking they might be doing a little something, something. I could be wrong. I could be wrong. But that's just what is giving me. Don't get me wrong. I very well could be wrong. But that's how it's coming across to me. Um, of course, from what I see, all they do is argue. And they got to the point where they felt like their kids was right because all they do is argue. He tells her that he doesn't want to be alone with her because all she always do is nag. They start arguments and fuss, and he feels like all she does is nag, nag, nag. She tells him that he makes time for everything but his family. And of course, he brags about there are plenty of women that would love to be in her shoes because he's talking about how the women in the church, they look at him, they flirt with him, and they want to be with him. And of course, she says she notices everything. And so she realizes what's going on. But she also tells him, because he's telling her that she wouldn't have all this stuff without him. And she puts it out there. She's like, dude, you wouldn't even have this church or none of this without my grandfather's endowment. She lets us know that her grandfather's endowment paid for that church. Next, of course, he get in his feelings because now he's like, you throwing money in my face. You're throwing money in my face. But dude, you were just trying to say, if it wasn't for you doing this, that, and the third, she wouldn't have nothing. And she just flipped the script and told you, dude, you wouldn't even have this church if it wasn't for me. So what's up? And he's like, well, don't put it out there if you're not going to follow through or whatever. And she said, I just did. So, everybody could go on hush mode. And the next scene we're gonna see is Naomi getting dressed for the party. She comes out, she's looking amazing. Naomi is crazy as hell. We have determined Naomi is crazy. But before the people get a chance to finish oohing and ah and stuff, somebody beats on the door. It's the police. They're asking her to step outside. She won't step outside. He's asking the members of the people that are there. They're telling them to step outside, and she's like, they're not going anywhere. They have a warrant. She's asking what's going on, and the lawyer for her ex-husband shows up. Of course, they have a few exchange of words, and they let her know that they are there to take everything that belongs to Mr. and Mrs. Price. Of course, she goes, she is Mrs. Price, which she is not. She is the ex-wife. So everything now belongs that she was supposed to have given back. Remember in the first episode where Geneva was telling her she has to give those things back, and she was arguing about it. Well, they're there to collect those things that she was supposed to have given back. And they're trying to they took the cars, they took paintings, they're trying to get earrings, and she ended up taking the earrings off and throwing them out into the water somewhere, and then they took her watch. So they basically was taking not even everything, but they were taking quite a few things from her. And after they get everything, she's like, they done messed up her makeup and messed up her hair. So she has to leave the situation. So she gets in the car and she drives off and leaves, everybody. She's visibly shaking and crying and stuff. So she leaves. One of her stylists, that was Duffy, that was still there, she calls Geneva. Geneva is now in the car with William and Javon. She ignores the call. And William is talking about hooking Javon up with Tiffany, which of course is one of Geneva's closest friends. Obviously, Tiffany is Kurt. It's a lot going on in this episode. But he's trying to hook Javon up with Tiffany. He's telling him about Tiffany and they'll be cool together or whatever. But Javon literally tells him he has his eye on someone else. Of course, William doesn't know that someone else is his freaking wife, but he does let him know that he has his eye on someone. And of course, Duffy is steadily calling back to back to back. So finally, Geneva calls her back and Duffy lets her know what happened. So now we're getting to this banquet. Bridget is there. She's adjusting the seating. Her little young boyfriend is there causing a whole ruckus because he says he's not, because I guess the wait staff mistook him for a waiter, and he said he's not a waiter, he's a content creator. And I'm like, dude, go somewhere and sit down. Just go somewhere, because he's trying to get his lighting and his tripods and stuff together so he can get him some content. Of course, he's worried about getting content, and Bridget is stressing because she got to deal with this nut and this situation, because this is her job. She's at her job and her boyfriend is acting on it. But anyway, he wants to know why she isn't telling anyone that he's her man, because she embarrassed. She's embarrassed by you. She is embarrassed by you. She don't want nobody to know she's screwing you. She is embarrassed. Anyway, we get back to where Pastor Jeff and Rashida arrive. Of course, he goes, open the door. They strut in like nothing has happened in this car, even though they had a whole argument from their house to the event. But anyway, Tiffany is already there. And Tiffany is asking Rashida what's wrong. And of course, she was like, she has to process things before she opens up and tells them about it. But of course, it's always about Jeff. So we know it's about Jeff. She just hasn't gone into any detail. Geneva's there. Geneva fills the girl in on what has happened with Naomi. And then she calls Naomi to find out where she is. When we find out Naomi is somewhere getting drunk, she's drinking. So it's going to be a wild night. She's drinking, and she asks Geneva what kind of lawyer she is, and that she's and of course, she gives them a rundown of how the police took stuff from her. And now she is saying that she wants to sue. She wants to sue them. And they're trying to figure out why is no reason to sue him, because of the simple fact that the judge ordered this stuff in the divorce. You refuse to give it back. And since you refused to give it back, they came and took it. Girl, you won $37 million. You could have went and bought all that stuff. But I digress. She lets them know that she's dressed and she's ready to come there. Of course, they're trying to talk her out of coming there because, she has now got to drinking, and they have been trying to keep her from drinking. But with what happened, she's gone off the deep end. So she's been drinking. So she's there like, okay, we're going to come check on you right after this is over, because she's like, I'm just not going to come. I'm just going to go home. And they are in agreement with her. However, in the back of my mind, I'm like, they have to go show up. Is she drunk too? She going to show up. So next, we're going to see where Bridget's boyfriend is talking to Jeff, and he's asking about where the liquor is. And they was like, this is a church event. There's no liquor here. So he's like, where's the communion? Then Jesus turned water into wine. I mean, come on, what a wine at? What alcohol at? So they let him know, dude, this ain't that type of party. This is not that type of party. So William then introduces Javon to the guys, the pastor, and all the guys that's in the little group. And then the ladies come back, and then they introduce Javon to all the ladies, and of course, Tiffany. Next, we'll see where Jeff gets up to make a speech because they're trying to raise money for a new facility. He then introduces Rashida. She makes a joke. She does a prayer. While they're making a prayer, Geneva is stealing glances at Javon. And after it's over, Tiffany tells Rashida she loves the way she prays. Of course, Javon seconds that. And then Vaughn, who is Bridget's boyfriend, introduces himself. And now he's sitting here and he's putting everybody business on Front Street. Oh, this is the one that does this. Oh, this is the one that does that. All the stuff. You know how you go home with your man or your woman and you be in there pillow talking? Oh, yeah. So everything that Bridget has pillow talked with him, he's sitting there trying to put a face with what she said to them. So after that situation, Tiffany and Javon, they're talking, they're laughing, they're, kind of enjoying each other a little bit. And they just start laughing. Geneva wants to know what they're laughing at. Because she over there, what's so funny? What's so funny? Baby, you over there with your husband. Why are you concerned with what they laughing at? Now, this is why you shouldn't keep secrets from your friends, because you should have told the girl that you screwing old dude, but she didn't. And so she lets them know that they have the same holistic doctor and they're getting along really well. Geneva excuses herself and she goes crying. She tells Rashida that, Javon was in her house because she's all worked up because he was in her house because William invited him there. And William is trying to set him up with Tiffany. And he thinks, because she's giving her the whole spiel where, he thinks Anika is his daughter. And she's like, well, why would he think that? Because that's around the time of the IVF. And then, of course, they had sex around that time. And she's just letting her know all of the stuff that has transpired in the last 24 hours. And there's a lot of stress and pressure on her. And she's breakdown. So she's just a mess. She's crying and everything. And back at the table, they're calling Vaughn a boy, and they to not judge him. And it's just a whole shit show at this point. It really is. It's just craziness. And we see where William is really pushing Javon on Tiffany really, really hard. So Tiffany gets up. She goes to where Rashida and Geneva are in the back. And of course, she asks what's going on, and she tells her they okay. And then she's like, "Well, why you kept this fine man from me? He's really sweet. I really like him." And I'm like, at that point, when Tiffany was like, "I really like him," she should have been like, "Homegirl, me and him." Well, that probably wasn't the time or the place, but she definitely needed to tell her that she had slept with a whole old boy, and old boy was back trying to get her. But hey, who am I? Anyway, Bridget wants Vaughn to go home. He apologizes to her and tells him, he apologizes because he done caused a whole ruckus. But he apologizes. Then we see where old Franklin, Naomi's old ex-husband, he shows up. Of course, I said where Tiffany had asked if Janita been holding out from her, and she's determined that he likes old dude. And so, they get ready to leave out to go back where everybody else is. And when they walk out, in walks Bridget to let them know that Franklin has arrived. And they go over, they of course speak, and they overhear the wife, the lady saying, asking about the dragon lady. So of course they are like, who's the dragon lady? Because if you are referring to Naomi, her name is Naomi. Of course, her name is not the dragon lady. And while they're, with the little chest swole trying to defend Naomi, think that was Bridget that looks around, and then her mouth is like open, drop. Everybody turns to look, and it was like, Naomi has arrived. Naomi has entered the building, and Naomi is drunk. And you got to look at it like this. Naomi is drunk. The police just came to her house and took her stuff. And the person that made the police come to the house and take her stuff is in front of her. And she's drunk. This is a church event that is about to go to hell real quick. Now, of course, this is how the episode ends, with Naomi coming in. But we can only imagine the shit show that is about to transpire. It's going to be a shit show. It is fitting to be a shit show. And I'm looking forward to it. We're going to see how this plays out. And with that being said, that is the end of the episode. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Please share the video. And with that being said, I'll talk to you guys soon. Have an amazing day. Bye.